I'm one of 3,051 kids who lost a parent on 9/11.
My dad's death has affected me in every aspect of my life, and I'm starting to not feel as alone anymore.
Ladies, I'm so grateful to be sitting with you here today. Thank you for sharing your time and your heart and your stories with us.
Thank you for having us.
I am so inspired by both of you. I think your stories are messages that can translate to people in a lot of different situations, and that starts with this incredible film.
We Go Higher started off as a documentary made by and about children who lost parents in 9/11, and now it's expanded to communities of people who have survived traumatic events around the world.
Why did you want to make We Go Higher?
Honestly, I think it was because it was like the community that I never had growing up, and I really wanted to be a part of something.
And did you find that community?
Oh, absolutely.
One of the things that really came forward for me was asking the question of, how am I going to give all of this pain a purpose?
I actually met Tyah at the United States of Women Conference in LA.
Yes, we just hit it off.
Yeah, and then she became a executive producer on the film.
I think the most healing part is building bonds, because you know that if you're having a really bad day, I could just text Delaney and we'll just talk it out.
When you would text her on one of those days, what's something Delaney would write back?
You got this, girl.
I'll just text her and she's like, well, you'll be fine. I know you. You're great. Yes, okay. This brings me back to reality.
When you set out to create this film, what were you looking to do, and who did you reach out to make that possible?
We contacted this organization called Tuesday's Children, which was like the de facto organization for people who lost parents on 9/11, and we ended up having like over 100 people who wanted to be involved. And then I actually got asked to go to Guantanamo Bay to testify against the 5 men who are being held there for being responsible for the attacks of 9/11, to give them the death penalty. And that just set my wanting to get to know these kids even more. I was like, yeah, this is exactly like where I'm supposed to be right now. Unfortunately, as we were on set, like horrible things were happening around the world.
Breaking news out of Orlando, Florida. Police say several people are dead after a
deadly incident at an arena in Manchester.
Douglas High School. Parkland consistently voted one of the safest communities in America.
We would always say, like, how can we help? What can we do? And I wrote an op-ed to the people who lost loved ones in Manchester, and we started reaching out to the people who lost loved ones in Las Vegas, and then Parkland, and then creating like this huge family that we never thought it was going to be. It was originally just going to be the 9/11 kids, and then it became like way more than that.
How did you feel when you started to meet people who had been in situations similar to yours? Because you probably went through a lot of your life not being able to relate to people.
It is healing. I think that's the best way to put it, because like my friend Katie Dan, he always says like there's such a huge difference between sympathy and empathy, and having people who can really empathize with you and talking to people who have walked your walk. That was like the beginning of like my healing process.
I too am a young person affected by a senseless act of violence that changed everything for my community. Community was everything for us in our healing. We are not defined by the horrible tragedy that happened to us, but by the path we choose from our own resilience.
What did you learn about the power of hope?
Life on the other side of grief is possible.
The more I started meeting people like Delaney, or just meeting Delaney actually, who were just so positive and so interested in, getting to know me for more than, what happened to my school, just as a person. It's what really makes this film special, is because yes, these are people who went through something traumatic and awful, but we're still people. Like, we didn't lose that element of ourselves.
Do you think the world needs this movie right now?
Definitely. It's just such a beacon of light. There's so much negativity. Like, people sensationalize these tragedies when they happen, and it's almost not real to them. It's just a beautiful showcase of being human.
I've received emails and texts and so many things from people saying thank you so much. This change my life in this way or this way or this, and it's different for everyone.
For you, experiencing the loss of your father and your family at such a young age, at what point did you start to realize the magnitude of that?
When we started this film, honestly. I was about to turn 3, so I don't really have any memory of the day, but I think as I got older, I started to recognize what the loss was and what that day meant and how much pain I've actually been holding in for a really long time, and I didn't start to let any of it out until we started this film.
Y'all are such rays of light, and even seeing you smile and laugh to me is such an embodiment of resilience and the power of the human spirit to be resilient.
Well, I know if my dad would want anything for me, it would be for me to be happy. So I just try to I don't know.
Yeah,
do that as much as possible.
I was just raised that way.
What do you think your dad would think about this film?
This sounds weird, but in the past couple of months, I've never felt as close to him as I do now, and I think that's really because I've actually allowed myself to open up that aspect of my life, and in return him being closer to me is what has actually happened. So I think that he would like it. I think that he would be happy for me. So hopefully. Why
is it critical that this film is made?
I think that this film has the opportunity to let people know that whatever they're going through in life, it doesn't have to define you, and you have the ability to write your own story, just to know that you're not alone in anything that you're going through. And I think that even though we went through things that some people feel they can't relate to, I think in this film they're gonna really feel they can connect to us. So I hope that they just feel less alone and they find pieces of themselves in our stories.
It hurts that we have to connect in that way, but what the good that comes out of it, I think, is far more important to focus on. For anyone who sees us and would be interested in donating, I think it's so important that they know that this is not just about Delaney and I. It's about everyone.
Knowing that you guys are out there steering the ship, I feel very hopeful about the future. So thank you.
Thank you so much.